Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. The Trump economy is getting worse, and now it is showing up in dramatic fashion in public polling. According to the latest CBS News YouGov poll, the percentage of Americans who say the economy is getting worse is 59%. That's the highest this poll has ever recorded. And it's up from 56% in September and 54% in July. Long-term pessimism is also at record levels. 69% say the so-called American dream no longer holds true. Poll respondents who feel down about the short-term and long-term future of the U.S. economy cite a rising cost of living and rising prices. The jobs market, though, is also in trouble.
Most of the job data that we have seen in the last few weeks has really underscored that this is a frozen labor market. There's almost no hiring happening outside of healthcare and a handful of those AI, superstar engineering type jobs. Any other sector, it's really tough right now. And you just flashed up that ADP private sector report, a surprise showing negative, actually, jobs lost in September, particularly among smaller businesses.
Smaller businesses are the driver of the U.S. economy. More younger people work in small businesses than work in large companies or corporations. NBC News recently conducted a focus group with younger workers and found them willing to cut some slack to Donald Trump about his prioritizing things like immigration. But the younger voters said the economy still needs to be a priority soon.
Some of them did mention that they feel like Trump is not prioritizing lower prices like they had hoped he would, but they're also not that upset about it. Look here, Richard B. said that while it is not a bad thing, that in his view, Trump has been more focused on immigration and everything that has to do with foreign affairs, as he says, that people are struggling now more than they have been, and not just with housing, also the state of living itself.
The economy consistently ranks as the number one issue for most voters. And with just over a year until the 2026 midterm elections, even congressional Republicans are getting nervous and are speaking out. Here's Republican House member Ryan Zinke of Montana appearing on the conservative cable channel Newsmax.
Our economy right now is not great. The jobs report was not great. This is yet another distraction from an overall economy that will have effects.
And by distraction, he is referring to the U.S. government shutdown. Lawmakers say it is costing American taxpayers $400 million a day. That cost is another weight bringing down the U.S. economy. And you heard Congressman Zinke refer to the recent jobs reports. The official Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers have been delayed by the government shutdown, which is convenient for the Trump administration because private payroll processor ADP found that non-government employers eliminated 32,000 jobs last month. In other words, the economy is now eliminating jobs instead of creating them. Also, the outplacement firm Challenger and Gray found that U.S. companies' hiring plans are at the lowest level in 16 years. Economists say that all of this taken together underscores why most Americans are so pessimistic about the U.S. economy. However, there is one bright spot, at least when it comes to the government statistics that nearly everybody relies upon for data on the U.S. economy. Donald Trump recently withdrew his pick, E.J. Antoni, to head the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And that's significant, according to the University of Michigan economist Justin Wolfers.
So this was a guy, E.J. Antoni, who was being put forward to run the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is a guy who'd never run a bureau, didn't understand anything about labor, and the only thing he's ever done with statistics is misrepresent them. Add on to that, it turns out the bloke turns up on January 6th. He reckons he was just a tourist having a look around. I don't know about that. And there's a long history of racist, sexist, xenophobic tweets. And it became too much. I want to be clear here, not for the White House. President Trump still wanted the guy to go through, but Lisa Murkowski said, are you kidding me? This is the least qualified person in human history, which in this administration is really something. And so that's gone. So he is not going to be the commissioner. Now, it turns out there's only an acting commissioner right now, and much of the senior ranks of the BLS, like much of the federal government, is really empty right now, which is when you kneecap an administration, you make it hard for people to do their jobs. And that's a broader trend I worry deeply about.
But not having competent people or enough people doing the data analysis is one thing. Having a racist, sexist, partisan lunatic at the head of the BLS would be far more concerning. So at least that problem has been avoided for now. Still, the name of whoever heads a government data bureau is irrelevant to most Americans. Most Americans simply want an economy that is growing, creating more jobs, and leading all of us to a brighter, more prosperous future. Under Trump, the data shows the economy is going in the wrong direction. And now, both older Americans and younger Americans are more pessimistic about America's economic future than at any point since the polling began. And the irony is that the U.S. economy could still get a lot worse. And that's something a majority of Americans now expect. By the way, as the Trump administration ratchets up deportation raids and arrests of migrant workers, residents and local police in Chicago are fighting back.
Let him go!
Eventually, with the crowds getting larger, the car horns getting louder, and the local police refusing the radio calls for assistance, the ICE agents gave up and drove away. Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.